Football fans, what's up? I'm Al Pops, here with my colleague Ryan Lance, breaking down the rosters of the Georgia-Florida Future Stars game.
Today, we're taking a look at the stars on Georgia's 7th grade squad. And Alan, you really like this team.
You know what, Ryan? I do. I really do. Last year, this group as 6th graders won 41-22 over Team Florida. Team Georgia returns 20 players from last year's team, and the roster is only 50 players deep, so you have a lot of returning players. The average offensive line is 5'9½", 219 pounds. The average defensive lineman is 5'9½" and 195 pounds.
Let's go position by position, starting with Georgia's quarterback, Ja'Cory Jones.
Yeah, Ja'Cory Jones is a great place to start for Team Georgia. He's one of 6 players selected from the Grayson Rams organization to the Future Stars game. He played on Team Georgia last year and opened many eyes, and since then has played in a number of national all-star games. He's grown into a 6'1", 135-pound quarterback with a very, very high ceiling. Another quarterback to look out for, Kyle Terry, a 2-time Georgia Middle School Athletic Association All-Star selection for North Cobb. Last season, he accounted for over 2,000 yards of total offense with 25 touchdowns. He looks very comfortable in the pocket, not afraid to stay in there and take a hit if it helps the play get downfield. And finally, another quarterback, the last quarterback on the roster, Ross Malmgren, a 5'7", 150-pound quarterback who played last year. He returns this year after another year of training at the Passing Academy.
That's an impressive group of signal callers. How about we take a look at the running backs on Team Georgia?
Alrighty, you got to start off with Trevor Smith. Trevor Smith's the only returning back from last year's team. He was named the MVP of last year's game, scored a couple touchdowns, and walked away wowing everybody with a great overall showing. Another back in their stable is Tavion Cudger. He's a very durable, all-purpose type of back. He was named the 7th grade MVP at the Cobb tryout. He's a complete back who stands 5'6", nearly 150 pounds, but still runs under a 5'0" 40-yard dash. Joining those two is big Jeremy Smith. He's absolutely huge for a youth running back at this level. 5'11", 155 pounds of pure muscle. Big athletic back that spent last year playing up with 8th graders because of his ability.
So it sounds like this team is stacked at the skill positions. Tell us about the wide receivers and tight ends.
You know, the skill just continues. It really does. Overall, as a group, they're very promising. A bunch of athletes that stand out coming into the game. Starting with Owen Pappoe. He was the MVP of the Gwinnett tryout and looked completely dominant. Pappoe was already 6 foot and 162 pounds of pure shredded muscle. He's a very physical receiver like former NFL great Hines Ward. In addition to Pappoe, Georgia has 2 other 6-footers in 6'1" Kenyon Jackson and tight end Isaiah Grant at 6 foot. Look for Zion Hawkins to show why he was nominated for the B2C Player of the Year award with some outstanding play as well. Lastly, Donovan Carter is a big player in a small package. Only 5'4" and 144 pounds, Carter is a complete wide receiver, not afraid to go over the middle.
A lot of skill, a lot of size, a lot of speed, but they can't do anything without the time to run and throw. Tell us about Georgia's offensive line.
5 of the 10 offensive linemen returned from last year's season, and I think this, out of all the positions, is the strength for Team Georgia. All 6'2" and 282 pounds of Keandre Jones headlines this year's group. Only a 7th grader nearing 300 pounds, he has Division I written all over him if he continues to develop through his high school years, and actually as an 8th grader next year. Joining him is Chilton Tolliver. He brings a wealth of national experience, named an NUC All-Star and also a member of Team USA who defeated Team Canada this past February down in Texas. The third offensive lineman to bring up is Justin Aboigbe. He has the potential to be extremely special and rounds out a great crop of offensive linemen for the 7th grade Team Georgia team.
So the offensive line has some size, but so does the defensive line. Tell us about them.
Defensive line is very, very athletic. Not as big as the other guys, but very athletic. This is a big physical group that will be extremely tough to run on as a whole. There's only one defensive lineman that returns from last year's team. That's 5'4", 180-pound roadblock, Cade Anderson. Joining Anderson, David Ross. He's both quick and powerful at 5'9" and 196 pounds. He's going to be a real difference maker on the line for Team Georgia. In addition to them, Quentin Skinner. He was named a 2014 East Bay Youth All-American and also placed second in the state of Georgia wrestling in the 235-pound weight class. Finally, wrapping it up, Richard Russell. He's the biggest of the entire group, 5'10", 252 pounds. He could just plop there and eat up blocks and stuff the run in the middle of the defensive line.
A lot of athleticism on this year's team. Let's take a look at the linebackers.
Okay, you got to start with Jawan White. At 5'8", 200 pounds, this kid hits like a truck. He's absolutely built, completely shredded for a 7th grader, looking like a freshman or sophomore in high school already. Last year, he was named to the All-Future Stars team because of his stellar play as a 6th grader. Joining him, Derek McClendon, already 6 foot, 175 pounds, with a great build, just like White. And in fact, at his tryout, coaches described him as freakishly athletic, and that's not a term you just throw around loosely. He's definitely is one to watch. Rounding up the linebacking corps is Jalen McCullough, Kareem Hobbs, and Nazir Fitzgerald, bolstering the size of that linebacker group.
Now we're going to take a look at the secondary, and let me guess, more athleticism.
Absolutely. Not as big as the other positions. You know, you would think, sticking with the theme, these are going to be all 6-footers, but they're not. They're a little bit smaller, but you're right in the fact that they fly around the ball. And what better place to start than with Malik Washington? He looked excellent at the Savannah tryouts. And in fact, at only 5'6" and 130 pounds, is one of the bigger defensive backs for Team Georgia's 7th grade squad. Justin Foster and Marquise Glanton are 2 other defensive backs who could make a big difference for Team Georgia. In fact, Glanton was named the 7th grade MVP of the Rome camp, while Foster took home the same honors at the Fayette tryouts.